Motivation is a trap because it is a feeling, and feelings are the most unreliable foundation you can choose for a successful life. Sometimes you wake up excited, and sometimes you wake up tired, angry, or numb. If your future depends on how you feel in the morning, your future is in danger.
If you only act when you feel like it, you are handing control of your destiny to your current mood, to the weather, to the comments on social media, and to the people around you. That is like putting your life on the back seat of a car and letting a 6-year-old drive.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the most important, and honestly, the most challenging episode we have ever recorded on the English Coffee Break. I'm Aria.
And I'm Christopher. Today, we are putting away the textbooks. We are closing the grammar exercises. We are even ignoring vocabulary lists for a moment. Because none of those tools matter if you don't have the discipline to show up, again and again, especially on the boring days.
I bought the gym membership, but I never went. I wanted to write a book, but I got bored. I wanted to start a podcast, but I was scared to be bad at the beginning.
All of these messages describe the same invisible enemy. It is not a lack of intelligence, and it is not a lack of time. It is the motivation trap. Today, for the next extended deep dive, we are going to dismantle this trap. Piece by piece. We are going to rebuild your mindset from the ground up, so that discipline becomes your default setting.
This is not a normal podcast episode. This is an audio workshop. We want you to treat it like a training session. Listen while you are doing something slightly uncomfortable. Maybe you are walking fast, cleaning the kitchen, folding laundry, or sitting on a bus after a long day.
We will explore the biology of laziness, the psychology of identity, the habits that destroy discipline, and we will respond to 3 brutal and very honest questions from you, our listeners.
So, take a deep breath. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Give yourself permission to focus for this session. Let's begin with the biology of why you quit, so that you finally stop calling yourself lazy and start understanding how your brain actually works.
To understand discipline, you must first understand your nervous system. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are biologically efficient. Your brain is designed to save energy. It does not care about your dreams. It cares about survival and efficiency.
Christopher, people often hear neuroscientists use the term limbic friction. It sounds complicated. Can you explain it in simple language?
Sure. Imagine your brain has 2 drivers sharing one car. Driver A is the prefrontal cortex. It loves goals, languages, hard projects, and 6-pack abs. Driver B is the limbic system. It loves cookies, Netflix, scrolling endlessly, and staying in bed.
And driver B is much older and stronger, right? It is like the ancient part of us, still living in a cave.
Exactly. For millions of years, driver B kept us alive by saving energy and avoiding danger. When you try to do something hard, driver B pulls the emergency brake. That feeling of, ugh, I don't want to, that heaviness in your body before you start a task, is not a moral failure. It is a chemical signal called limbic friction.
So when I sit down with my English notebook and suddenly want to check Instagram, or clean the room, or eat something, it's not because I'm a bad student. It's because my brain is trying to escape effort and discomfort.
Yes. And once you know that, you can stop attacking yourself and start negotiating with your biology. Motivation is the rare moment when driver A, the logical planner, and driver B, the emotional comfort seeker, want the same thing at the same time. But that alignment is rare. If you build a life that only moves forward in those rare moments, you will move very slowly.
Discipline, then, is what happens when driver A calmly takes the wheel, even while driver B is shouting in the back seat. You still hear the resistance, but you do not obey it.
Now we must talk about dopamine, the famous neurotransmitter. People often say dopamine equals pleasure. That is not accurate. Dopamine is about anticipation and craving. It is the chemical that makes you want to keep going, or want to come back for more.
When you scroll on social media, the apps give you unpredictable rewards. A funny video, a like, a comment, a new notification. Every time, you get a little spike of dopamine. You are training your brain to expect rewards with almost zero effort.
And that training has a side effect. It makes long-term projects feel painfully slow. Studying a language, saving money, building a body, all of these give rewards very slowly. So if your brain is addicted to quick hits of easy dopamine, it will violently reject the slow burn of real learning.
This is why many people say, "I can't focus." In reality, their focus has been hijacked by a constant diet of cheap rewards.
So step 1 of discipline is actually a dopamine detox. Not a perfect, extreme detox, but a conscious reduction of cheap rewards. If you reduce the constant stimulation, after a few days your brain becomes more sensitive again. Reading feels interesting. Conversations feel deeper. A single hour of focused study begins to feel satisfying.
You are not just improving your willpower. You are resetting the chemistry that makes discipline possible. Now that we understand the biology, let's move to the second pillar, identity. This is my favorite topic because it explains why habit trackers alone are not enough.
There is a famous example about two people trying to quit smoking. When offered a cigarette, the first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit."
On the surface, that sounds like a strong answer. They are resisting temptation.
It sounds good, but psychologically, it is weak. It still defines them as a smoker. A smoker who is temporarily making a sacrifice. As soon as they are stressed, lonely, or tired, their old identity will return, and they will say, "Well, I tried, but this is who I really am."
And the second person?
The second person says, with calm confidence, "No thanks. I am not a smoker."
That is a completely different energy. It is not a negotiation. It is a statement of identity.
Exactly. You have to change your I am statements. Stop saying, "I am trying to learn English." Start saying, "I am an English speaker who is improving."
Identity always comes first. Action flows from identity. When you say, "I am a procrastinator," your brain does its job and behaves like a procrastinator. When you say, "I am the kind of person who finishes what I start," your brain begins to look for proof and opportunities to behave that way.
True discipline is not endless self-torture. It is simply acting in alignment with the person you believe you are. If you believe you are an athlete, going for a run may be uncomfortable, but it does not feel like a strange thing to do. It feels normal. That is what athletes do.
If you believe you are a serious learner, opening your notebook is not a heroic act. It is just what you do between breakfast and lunch. So here is a small exercise. Think of one identity you want to build, for example, I am an English speaker, or I am a disciplined person. Now, for the next week, every time you perform a small action that supports this identity, whisper to yourself, this is like me. This is what I do.
The action might be tiny. Watching a 5-minute lesson. Reading a paragraph. Practicing one new phrase. But you are strengthening a powerful sentence in your mind. Over time, the identity becomes heavier than your excuses. Now, I want to slow things down and try a deeper visualization exercise with you. Remember, if you are driving or operating machinery, keep your eyes open and just imagine. If you are safe at home, you can close your eyes if you like.
Take a slow breath in through your nose, and exhale gently. Let your shoulders drop a little. Allow your face to relax.
Imagine it is 5 years from now. You wake up on a normal day. You reach for your phone. This is the version of you who always waited for motivation. You worked only when you felt inspired.
You skipped your practice when you were tired. You avoided difficult conversations. You said, I'll start next week, again and again. You open your messages. The projects you dreamed about were never started, or they were abandoned in the messy middle.
How does that version of you feel when they look into the mirror? Do they feel proud? Do they feel clear? Or do they feel a quiet, heavy regret?
Stay with that image for a moment. Not to punish yourself, but to tell the truth. This is the cost of living by motivation only.
Now gently erase that picture. Let it fade like fog in sunlight.
We are going to create a second image. Imagine again that it is 5 years from now, but this time you chose discipline over comfort.
You did the work when it was raining. You kept your promises on the days you wanted to quit. You studied English when your friends were scrolling.
You did not become a robot. You still rested. You still had fun. But you stopped negotiating with every feeling.
You open your laptop. There is a finished portfolio, a degree, a list of books you have read, maybe a small online business that pays you.
You open your mouth to speak English, and the sentences come out with ease. Not perfect, but confident.
How does that version of you walk down the street? How do they look at other people? How do they handle problems?
Notice their shoulders, their breathing, the way they answer the question, what do you do?
Now, slowly return to the present moment. Open your eyes if they were closed. Discipline is not a mysterious talent. It is simply the bridge between who you are today and that second version of yourself.
Every time you choose a small disciplined action, you are taking one step across that bridge. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. You have just felt both in your imagination. Now you get to choose which one you want in real life. We asked our community to send real stories and real struggles, and you were very honest with us. We cannot answer every message, but we chose 3 that represent problems almost everyone faces.
The first message is from Davide in Italy. He writes, I work 10 hours a day. When I get home, I am exhausted. I want to study English and exercise, but I have no energy. How can I have discipline when my battery is empty?
Davide, thank you for trusting us with this. A lot of people listening feel exactly the same.
The first thing to understand is that you are relying on willpower alone, and willpower is like a phone battery. By 8 or 9 p.m., it is close to zero. You are trying to climb a mountain at the end of the day, when your legs are already shaking.
The solution is not to magically create more energy. The solution is to move your most important work to a time when your energy is naturally higher. Even 20 or 30 minutes in the morning, before the world wakes up, can completely change your progress.
We call this paying yourself first. Most people pay everyone else first, with their energy and attention, and give their own dreams the leftovers.
Davide, for the next 2 weeks, try this experiment. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Use that time only for your English. No phone, no email, no news. Just you, your notebook, and your headphones.
You will be tired at first, but you will also feel something new, a quiet pride, because you are finally giving your best energy to your future.
Our next question comes from May in China. She writes, I am a perfectionist. If I miss one day of my habit, I feel like a failure and I quit. How do I stop this all or nothing thinking?
May, this is so common that we should probably teach this in schools. Think of brushing your teeth. If you forget one morning, you do not say, I failed. There is no point brushing ever again. That would be ridiculous. You just brush them that night, and you move on.
Habits should be treated like hygiene, not like an exam. You are not trying to get a perfect score. You are trying to stay generally clean. We use a simple rule we call never miss twice. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the beginning of a new identity.
So, May, when you miss one day, your only job is to show up the very next day, even if your session is short or imperfect. You are not repairing the past. You are protecting your identity in the present.
Our final question is anonymous. The listener says, I start new goals with huge excitement. I create complicated plans. But after a week, I get overwhelmed and stop. How can I stay consistent?
The problem here is not motivation. You have plenty of motivation at the beginning. The problem is that your starting plan is too heavy. You are trying to build a skyscraper on day one.
Discipline loves simplicity. Instead of planning the perfect year, plan the next tiny repeatable action. For example, every day after breakfast, I will listen to 5 minutes of English audio and repeat one sentence out loud.
If you can do more, great. But the baseline must be so small that you can do it even on a bad day. Consistency is not about doing a huge amount once. It is about doing a small amount many times without breaking the chain. To make this more concrete, let's look at history. Let's talk about Theodore Roosevelt.
He was a president of the United States, right? A very energetic one.
Yes, but before he became a leader known for his strength, he was a sickly child with severe asthma. He had a weak body and a nervous system that panicked easily. Doctors told him to avoid physical effort. They suggested a quiet, protected life.
So he had every excuse to stay small, comfortable, and fragile.
He did. But as a young man, he made a radical decision. He said, I will make my body. He designed his own extreme training program. He forced himself to exercise until he literally collapsed.
He hiked mountains, boxed, practiced wrestling, and spent months living in the wild, far away from soft city life.
He chose what he later called the strenuous life. Not because he loved suffering, but because he believed that comfort would slowly kill his potential.
He built his body and his character through thousands of disciplined, uncomfortable moments.
He once said, "We must all either wear out or rust out, every one of us. My choice is to wear out."
To rust out is to sit still for so long that your talents begin to decay. Your mind becomes unused. Your courage becomes weak.
You do not need to copy Roosevelt's extreme methods. But you can copy his decision to choose effort over slow decay.
Don't rust out. Use your mind. Use your body. That is what they are for. We are nearing the end of our workshop, but we do not want this to be just an inspiring listening experience. We want this audio to be the beginning of a new season in your life.
So we are issuing a challenge. We call it the 7 days of friction. For the next 7 days, you will choose one small action that creates a little resistance in your brain.
It could be a cold shower at the end of your normal warm shower. It could be 10 push-ups. It could be 15 minutes of focused English study with your phone in another room. The action should be safe, short, and slightly uncomfortable.
Here is the rule. Do it immediately after you wake up or immediately after a stable daily event like brushing your teeth. Do not negotiate. Do not wait to feel like it. When the time comes, you simply act.
You are not doing this challenge for the visible result. 7 days will not transform your body or your vocabulary. You are doing it to send a message to your brain. The message is, I am the kind of person who moves, even when my feelings hesitate.
After 7 days, you will notice something strange. The fear and the anticipation before the action were worse than the action itself. You will also notice a quiet confidence growing, because you kept your own word.
If this episode helped you, listen again in a few weeks. Repetition is how we rewrite beliefs. Share it with a friend who is stuck waiting for motivation. Maybe you can do the 7 days of friction challenge together.
Thank you for spending this extended deep dive with us. You have already proved that you can focus longer than most people. I'm Christopher.
And I'm Aria. Stay disciplined.
And keep moving forward. Goodbye.